Did you know you could shop tax-free in Italy? If you do it right, you can save 10 to 15% on your purchases because the Italian government will give you a tax rebate. But most tourists either don't know this or they mess up the process completely and miss out on big savings.
Now let's be clear, we're not talking about duty-free purchases at the airport. This is an entirely separate way that you can save money.
Now just a thing about the duty-free at the airport. You know, most of that stuff you buy, especially the food items, are complete rip-off. You can get any of that stuff at the grocery store for about half as much money and the same quality.
Today we'll show you how tax-free shopping works and how you can make sure you don't miss out.
We've been traveling and shopping in Italy for 35 years. Leather in Florence, Murano glass in Venice, and even fashion items in Milan. And through our experience, we've learned how the tax-free process works, and we'll show you how travelers like you can save without the stress.
The tax you'll be avoiding legally is called IVA in Italy. We would call it VAT, or value added tax in English. It's 22% on most of the goods that you buy that are part of this program. Now it's important to know that unlike the US where the tax is added after on the purchase price, VAT is included in that purchase price.
Yeah, it's already built in. Now, not every purchase qualifies for this VAT refund. There are actually 4 criteria it has to meet in order to get this refund. Number 1, you're not an EU resident. You can be American, Canadian, or from anywhere outside the EU for this to work. However, let's say you're an American living in France, well, that you don't qualify because you're a resident of France, not the US. Number 2, the store where you're buying the thing that you want to get a refund on has to participate in the program, and not all stores do. So, for example, a lot of small artisan shops may not participate in it. So look for a sign that says tax-free shopping in the window, and if you don't see it, just go ahead and ask when you go inside, say "Fate il tax-free," and see what they say. The third criteria is that the item you're buying has to cost at least €70 or more. And fourth, you have to be taking this item home with you, not using it there. So something that you buy, but it doesn't include hotels, restaurants, or any services in Italy.
2 important things when you're in the store. You need to have your passport so they can fill out the correct form. And second, you need to ask them for the tax-free program before they do the transaction. If they've already rung it up, it's too late.
So the refund that you're going to get back is going to come from one of 2 payment processors, either Global Blue or Planet. And you'll get the money back from whichever one the store has an arrangement with.
Once you have the form, keep it with the original receipt and keep your goods in the original packaging and unworn. Sometimes customs will refuse your refund if they think it's not brand new.
Now, they don't always inspect your items. In fact, we've actually never had our items inspected, but they might, and they're entitled to do it, so you don't want to risk having your refund denied. Now, this VAT tax-free program is available throughout Europe with some variations, but there is a little multi-country wrinkle that we'll explain in a few minutes.
Your rebate will be processed at the airport before you leave, and there's a time limit on claiming it. It needs to be claimed by the end of the 3rd month after you make the purchase. So if you purchase something on March 20th, by June 30th, you need to make sure that you've claimed your refund.
When you arrive at the airport, have your forms, your receipts, and your merchandise accessible. Now here's the important thing. If you're planning to put your items in your checked baggage, make sure you go through this process before you check in for your flight.
Now the form itself, you'll get it from the store either digitally or on paper. Either way, it'll have a barcode. And you'll process it at the airport in the way we're just going to talk about, the same either way.
So at Rome's Fiumicino Airport, there are Global Blue and Planet kiosks and counters near check-in desks 196 through 225. There are also kiosks and counters after you go through security, but of course if you're going to check your bag, again, do it before you check your bag.
At Milan Malpensa, there are refund counters and kiosks near check-in area 12. Now, when we were at Milan recently, we didn't notice any place after security where you could process your payment. So make sure to do it before you go through security.
And always give yourself plenty of extra time, because in the peak hours, especially in the summer, the lines, it can get really long both at the kiosks and the counters.
Take your form to the kiosk or counter for Global Blue or Planet, whichever one is indicated on your form. You're going to get your rebate either in cash or by credit card. You're going to need your passport and the credit card you use to buy the merchandise.
So now don't expect the full 22% back that you paid in tax, because after the payment processors collect their fees, you're looking at about 10 to 15% that you're going to get back. Now that's still worth it. I mean, let's say you bought 500 euro worth of leather items. Well, that's still 50 euro or 75 euro that you are going to get back. And if you don't do this process, you're going to be missing out.
Yeah, you don't want to leave that on the table. So that's the process. To make it easier for you to follow, we've put together a downloadable cheat sheet for all the details about both Malpensa and Fiumicino. You can get it through the link in the description box below.
Now here's the multi-country wrinkle that we talked about a little bit earlier. If you, let's say, spend a few days in Rome, you buy some things, then you go to Paris and you buy some things, you must handle all of those refunds at the last place when you're exiting the EU. So in this case, it would be Paris. All the things you bought in Rome and all the things you bought in Paris will be processed as a refund in Paris.
Now, if you're just connecting through Paris and you have your items in your carry-on luggage, this rule of last airport still applies. So you really need to process your form in Paris.
However, if you're flying through Paris, but you checked your bags in Rome and you checked them all the way to your final destination in the United States, then you would do your VAT refund processing in Rome before you leave.
Here's one thing to take away from this. Keep your paperwork, your form and your receipt, and the goods in their original packaging with you until you process your rebate. After that, it's fine to put things in your checked luggage.
Watch this video next. It could save you even more money on your next trip to Italy. Ciao for now.
A presto!